Okay, let's talk about this bin here. This bin is just it's a, sterilite container. I use the dark color because I like to keep my worms in the dark when I'm not feeding them or doing anything else. And so, yeah, as you can see, there are several holes drilled into the bottom of this. All along the outside edge, all along on the inside. That allows for drainage. Drainage is important. You don't want your worms drowning. If they start drowning, they're going to crawl up the sides and try to get out. And then we've got a lid. Now, there are several holes drilled in the top of this lid as well to allow for aeration. As you can see here, there are several holes all over the place. Now, I chose to line my lid on the top with aluminum tape. And what that does is it keeps out the light because this lid is very translucent. Without that tape, it would allow lots of light to fall inside. Now, that's okay sometimes because it allows the worms to burrow deeper into the substrate, into their bedding, because they do not like the light. But I like to have my worms stay in the substrate whether they're in the dark or the light. And if they're in the dark and they're staying in the substrate, then I know I'm doing something good. I know that they're working. So, and that's the lid. All right. Let's go over and actually show you what we do. Now, what we do is tedious. We're going to tear up individual pieces of paper and put them in there and spread them out and fill it to about here and then water it and then do it again. But let's go do it. So we're just ripping up paper, separating piece by piece. We don't want any clumps in there. We want it to have as much air in there as possible. When we wet it down, we want it to be, fluffy and airy. So this is the most tedious part, but it is what it is. And we're going to fill it up to about the top, maybe about where that ring around the top goes, and then we're going to wet it down. So here we are. So talk about the watering here. We want a can that can put out some kind of shower. We don't want to just dump water on there. That'll ruin the paper and give you just clumps. This allows you to water it in parts. So let's water it. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fluff it up. And rotate it and do that, and then we're going to water it again. And then once we do that, we're going to put more newspaper in there. We're going to fill it back up to the top. So okay, I wet it down. Okay, and I can separate it a little bit. That's what you want to do. You want to separate it and then let it get some air inside there. And the next thing we're going to do is add some food. Now, in the beginning, I add food in several different places. That just allows the worms a variety. But after a week or two, then I only add it to one place. So I'm using some cantaloupe here. Alright, give them something to start with. Now, this is about 3 days before we're going to actually use them. Okay, some coffee grounds. And we're just going to bury them a little under the surface. Right around here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright. Cover them with cardboard. Alright. And once we get it covered like that, this is dampened cardboard here. And worms love that, by the way, and it keeps it dark. We put the lid on it, and we go ahead and snap it shut, make sure nothing gets out, and it's all ready for worms. And in about 3 days, that's exactly what we're going to do. So here we go. All right, we got our worms. All right, we're going to go ahead and dump them in. This comes from Uncle Jim's Worms Farm, or Uncle Jim's Worm Farm. So I find that they are the most reliable. We're going to dump a half a cup of water in there. It's hydrating them. All right, they should be good to go. We're going to dump them out and see exactly what happens here. See how well they've survived the trip. Okay, that looks pretty good. They're happy to be out of the bag. They've been in that bag probably about 5 days. Give them some water. Hydrate them. All right. Yeah, that looks pretty good. They're all burrowing down. Good sign. Oh, that face over in the corner there, that's my daughter. She's curious. So, yeah, that's pretty good. They're pretty much gone down into the bottom. There's a couple on top, but not many. And of course, they don't like you touching them. It's best to use gloves, says instead of your bare hands. You touch it, but they squiggle away or wiggle away, whatever. See, that's one. It looks sick, but it's perfectly fine. Once it gets into the water and hydrated, it's going to burrow down just as like the other ones. So what I like to do is cover it with this cardboard. It's dampened, and it keeps it dark in there. It keeps the worms buried for, we like to leave it on there for about a week. So, and once it's on there, then we just let it sit. And then about a week later, we're going to come back and see what happens. So, and we're also going to move this to where we're going to actually leave it, which is another location than here. So, all right, this is a week later. Let's see what we got. All right, let's look at the inside. It's been a week. That cardboard that we put on top, that dampened cardboard, that's going to keep them down. Now what I like to do is look after a week, and if I don't see any worms on the top, then I take that cardboard out. I check that cardboard for worms. But anyways, so let's do that. Let's see what we got here after a week. And no worms. But I can tell you, if you can see this brown little specks around on here, that means worms were up inside here and they went back down. So let's get rid of this cardboard. Look inside there. Make sure that you don't have any worms in there. And we'll go ahead and cut these in little pieces and then recycle them back into the worm bin. Throw them over the top. Yeah, no worms. I don't see any worms inside there. All right. And now let's look at this. Okay, stuff's getting a little dry on top, but it's still not dry enough to where we're going to water it yet. So we're not going to water it, but look at, there's a ton of worms over there. Okay. Look at them all eating there. You see that? You see all this stuff right here? That's good stuff. They're eating the cantaloupe. They're all in there. And at this point, what I do is I just put the lid on it and I forget about it for about 2 or 3 days. And in those 2 or 3 days, they're going to be munching on that food, eating through the newspaper that's in there. I'll take some of that cardboard that we were using to put on top of them, cut it up and put it over the top. And then, like I said, in 2 or 3 days, we'll check it out. But that's how easy it is to set up a worm bin for composting. Get the red wigglers and let them compost, let them eat. And they're going to devour your scraps that you have left over at the table. All right. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching until the end, and God bless.